Hello and welcome to BK Prime. I'm Hiral Dadia. It's going to be an exciting week ahead with a lot of newsmakers coming in and a lot of news flow coming in from the global markets as well. But let's first quickly pick up what's happening across the globe right now. Clearly, if you see in terms of China, we know it's reopening and there is a high amount of expectation that there could be some amount of an economic boost that could be coming in from China. In fact, if you talk about Bloomberg economists, they are estimating that the reopening of China will actually push China's 2023 GDP growth to 5.1%, which would actually add about zero point 0.9 percentage points to the global inflation relative to what would happen if COVID zero policies had continued. In fact, policymakers are also worried of how China may actually impact prices from a commodities perspective. So that's going to be an important angle to watch out for from China. On top of that, you have seen China's junk bonds, which have actually become the world's hottest credit trade because after a series of policy steps that have been taken to ease strains in the nation's property market, bonds of China's developers have been surging. If you see an index of dollar denominated junk bond in China that's brimming with developer debt is up around 6.5% so far this month and more than 32% in the past 3 months. So that's clearly beating every other major bond benchmark in the world. So that's from China. And very lastly, China is pledging crackdowns which are aimed at cooling surging iron ore prices. So clearly, the National Development and Reform Commission has come out and said that they will crack down all illegal activities, including spreading false information, hoarding, and price gouging to keep the iron ore market stable. So watch out for metal stocks focused on iron ore in terms of the Indian markets as well. Moving on, some sad news coming in from Nepal, wherein a plane crash has killed at least 68 people there. There were a couple of Indians on board as well. Sympathies to all the families, in terms of, who've lost their lives in the air crash. But that's some bad news coming in on that front. Moving on, if you see in terms of Japan as well, they are looking beyond US alliance for help to deter China. And on top of that, one key event this week will be Bank of Japan's policy decision, which is on Wednesday, which is clearly looming large as a potential pivot point from here on. The key question is, will Bank of Japan actually roll out another surprise? Now, it's a very close call whether policymakers will actually adjust their yield strategy once again. Although, even if they don't, it's only going to be a probably a matter of time when they come ahead and do so. So that's going to be an important aspect to be watch out for on Wednesday from Asian markets. And very lastly, on a global perspective, you have World Economic Forum's annual meeting at Davos that has begun today in Switzerland. Clearly, billionaires are heading to Davos, which is clearly reflecting a change world order. In fact, you will see live coverage coming in from Davos only on BQ Prime as well from today to the 20th of this month. So watch out for a lot of news flow coming in from Davos as well. Moving on, let's quickly see how global markets have been performing as well. If you see in terms of US markets, clearly Dow ended with almost 100 points higher. That is on Friday's session, as well as if you see in terms of S&P 500 as well as Nasdaq, they have notched the best week since September. So good performance coming in from all the three indices in terms of the US. Overall, if you see the US dollar index as well was at levels of around 102.18. And this little bit of weakness in the dollar index is leading to a rise in other currencies. So a lot of momentum that we are seeing in other currencies as well in terms of global markets. The 10-year bond yield has been at around 3.5 on Friday. And they have come down slightly and they're keeping alive the chances of testing their supports before a fresh leg of up move that could be seen again in terms of the US Treasury yields overall. Europe overall, again, a higher, we closed higher again on the back of inflation as well as US earning news. Overall, in terms of Asian markets as well, if you go to see, a pretty mixed trade is what we are witnessing in today's session. And this is mainly on the back of cooled US inflation outlook. Hang Seng has been flat while Shanghai Composite has seen an uptick of around 0.4%. In fact, China has reported a surge of nearly 66,000 COVID deaths since dropping restrictions last month. And if you see Japan's producer prices or wholesale prices, they've risen by 10.2% in December as compared to a year ago. So, overall, if you go to see a lot of news coming in from Asian markets, SGX Nifty, that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for. If you see SGX Nifty in today's session, there's not a major gap up opening that we could be expecting. However, a positive opening is what is on the cards, and a 20 points up move is what SGX Nifty is indicating a start. Above 18,050 is what we could be seeing in today's session. So, watch out for SGX Nifty in trade as well as the benchmark indices. Overall, if you go to see, apart from SGX Nifty as well, a lot of focus that could be on crude because last week oil saw the biggest weekly gain since October on the back of the hopes that are emerging out of China, as well as the kind of slump that we're seeing in the dollar index. So Brent is down and trading at levels of around 85 to $86 a barrel, as well as NYMEX is in the range of around 789 to $80 per barrel. So watch out for OMCs in trade today as well. A lot of key events that will be in focus in this week. Firstly, from an India perspective, you have WPI as well as the trade data that will be released. So watch out for that front. From UK, you have CPI, retail sales, as well as the unemployment reports that will be coming out. So watch out for key events from UK. China, you have the Q4 GDP numbers as well as industrial production that will be released. Similarly, with Japan, you have CPI, industrial production, as well as trade data. And as mentioned, the monetary policy meeting of Bank of Japan Central Bank, that will be crucial as well as to what direction they are taking is going to be crucial. And if you see in terms of US as well, the PPI and the weekly jobless claims will be in focus. So these are a few of the key macroeconomic data that one should be watching out for this week. Moving on, let's now quickly understand what our trade setup is indicating. We already spoke about what SGX Nifty is indicating a positive start, but clear focus will be on corporate earnings as well as the global cues. And there is a clear consolidation on the cards as well. That's what the key levels are indicating because price whipsaw, that's the key feature for the markets in the last couple of weeks. And the ones who are actually waiting for a clear direction in the markets, they are actually facing a testing time at current levels. If you see indices, we've seen a pullback attempt towards levels of 18,150 to 18,200 already. However, the lack of momentum is what is coming in because the broader markets have really not been that supportive. So that's one key thing we need to watch out for. At 18,200, that is actually playing a psychological block as well in terms of Nifty 50. Now, if we break levels of 17,500, 17,600 on the downside, that's something we could, see major pressure building in on that front. But overall, 18,150, 18,200 is the level that we need to cross to see some bit of an upside. And this week is going to be a week of consolidation. Nifty mid cap and small cap as well has actually started to show some signs of outperformance as well versus the benchmarks. So if that comes in and gives support to the markets, that's going to be an interesting read. So watch out for a lot of stock specific action that could be emerging from the broader markets in trade. Moving on, clearly, if you go to see overall in terms of the budget, that's going to be crucial because the countdown has now begun for FY24. And the forthcoming budget is actually going to be the last union budget before the general elections. And next year, it's going to be an interim budget and not a regular union budget. So, a lot of stock specific moves in pre budget expectations will be in focus overall from here on. Major earnings to watch out for this week. You have HUL, Asian Paints, ICICI Bank, Ultratech Cement, IndusInd Bank, HDFC Life Insurance, as well as SBI Life Insurance. These are counters which will be reporting earnings this week. So watch out for some bit of momentum, maybe on the upside or the downside that could be in trade, can be witnessed. Moving on, in terms of an earnings reaction, the companies that have already reported earnings, HDFC Bank will be in focus. In fact, the bank has posted strong double-digit growth in terms of its profitability. There has been a healthy jump in the consolidated advances as well. If you see the asset quality, there has been a marginal improvement in terms of the asset quality, and the credit ratios have remained pretty healthy for an HDFC bank. So watch out for that counter in trade today. Moving on, Avenue Supermart. The profits are up around 6.5% for this counter, and the revenues have risen by 25%. So watch out for an Avenue Supermart in trade. Wipro will be in focus as well. The revenues have pretty much met expectations. Profits have risen 15%. The commentary, as well as what the pack has actually done as a sector, is extremely crucial at this point in time. So IT as a sector will be in focus in today's session as well. L&T Finance Holdings, the profits have jumped around 39%. The NII is up around 23%. So good set of numbers coming in from our L&T Finance Holdings. Watch out for a reaction on that counter. As well as if you see a Just Dial, the profits have jumped threefold. So there could be some bit of positive momentum that could be seen with regards to a Just Dial as well. So these are stocks that you will be watching out for in terms of an earnings reaction. But in terms of newsmakers, pharma continues to remain in focus today. A lot of news flowing in on the negative side. You have Lupin, wherein the US FDA actually inspected the company's Somerset, which is New Jersey, USA plant. And the inspection has closed with an issuance of a Form 483 with two observations. So there could be a negative reaction that could be coming in with regards to a lupin. Moving from there on, you have Dr. Reddy's, which has gone ahead and acquired trademark rights of the breast cancer drug Primsib from Pfizer for use in the Indian market. So some bit of a positive reaction on the back of the acquisition of the trademark rights will be in focus. Piramal Pharma, again, you have US FDA, which has gone ahead and issued a Form 483 with two observations, and this is to the company's facility in USA. Now, the observations have been classified as VAI, and they do not relate to any data integrity. That's what has been mentioned in the release. So watch out for Piramal Pharma. Granules India as well, that will be in focus, wherein the US FDA has gone ahead and issued a Form 483 with three observations at its facility in Telangana. So that stock will be in focus as well. As to DM. Now, Malabar Institute of Medical Sciences, which is a subsidiary of the company, will be acquiring 99.99% stake in Cantown Infra Developers, and the cost of the acquisition is around 15.2 crores. The reason for the acquisition is terms of expansion. So there could be some bit of an positive momentum that could be coming in with regards to where Asta DM goes. And very lastly, in terms of other counters, you have Tata Motors. They have filed Form 25 with Securities and Exchange Commission for termination of its ADR, and this is to delist its securities. So watch out for Tata Motors. Tata Steel will be in focus as well, wherein the British Steel Pension Scheme with Tata Steel UK as a sponsor has completed a substantial part of its de-risking journey with 60% of liabilities now insured by an insurance company. REC has gone ahead and signed an MOU, which is a non-binding MOU worth 1 lakh crore rupees with the UP government to extend financial assistance during the UP Global Investor Summit. This is in the field of power generation, transmission and distribution projects, renewable energy, infrastructure development projects as well. And they've signed a non-binding MOU with MP Power Management to extend financial assistance to the tune of almost around 15,000 odd crores for their upcoming Sarani and Amarkantak thermal power plant. So watch out for an REC in trade today as well. Moving from an REC, very lastly, you have Asula Vineyards, a recent listing that will be in focus today as their own brand sale and wine tourism revenue have set a quarterly record by growing around 13%. In fact, a new 2.5 million liter cellar is up and running in time for the 2023 grape harvest as well. So, a lot of stock specific action is what we could be witnessing in trade today. Earnings will be in focus, and this could act as a week of consolidation as well for the Indian markets. But overall, a positive opening that could be on the cards. That's all that we have in this session of Trade Setup. Thanks for watching.